In the depths of the Tibetan mountains, among ancient monasteries and the distant sound of bells, there exists a knowledge that transcends existence itself. The Bardo Thödol, known in the West as the Tibetan Book of the Dead, is not just a text about death. It is a map of consciousness, a guide for the greatest journey a being can undertake. In the mystical lands of Tibet, where the sky touches the earth and the winds carry ancient mantras, one of humanity's deepest treasures emerged. The Bardo Thödol was not born as a simple text. It emerged from enlightened experience itself, like crystal-clear water springing from the Himalayan glaciers. Padmasambhava, affectionately known as Guru Rinpoche, was not an ordinary man. Ancient records say that he could fly through the skies and transform mountains into gold. But his true power did not lie in these extraordinary feats. It resided in his ability to see through the veil of ordinary reality and transmit this vision in words that could echo through the centuries. In the 8th century, when the Dharma was still a young seed in Tibetan soil, Padmasambhava realized that humanity would need a guide not only to live but especially to die. In his infinite wisdom, he understood that the moment of death is not an end, but an extraordinary opportunity for liberation. The knowledge contained in the Bardo Thödol was initially transmitted orally, like a sacred river flowing from master to disciple. Padmasambhava knew that difficult times would come, so he decided to hide these teachings in secret places, not only in physical caves, but also in the depths of the human mind. These hidden texts are known as termas, spiritual treasures destined to be discovered at the appropriate time. It was only in the 14th century that the Tibetan treasure discoverer Karma Lingpa found these teachings and revealed them to the world. Like a flower waiting for spring to bloom, the knowledge of the Bardo Thödol waited for the right moment to flourish and benefit all beings. But what is the essence of this knowledge? Imagine an infinite ocean. Waves rise and fall on the surface, but the fundamental nature of the water remains unchanged. Similarly, the Bardo Thödol teaches us that all experiences of life and death are like waves on the surface of fundamental consciousness. The text is not just a manual for the moment of death, it is a mirror that reflects our true nature. Every word, every instruction, has been carefully preserved not only in scrolls, but in the very consciousness of realized masters. In the words of the text itself, fundamental consciousness is like the sky, phenomena are like clouds. Just as clouds cannot stain the sky, no experience can taint our essential nature. This understanding is the key to navigating not only the bardos after death, but also the challenges of life. Tradition tells that when these teachings were revealed, the mountains trembled, and multicolored lights danced in the Tibetan sky. But the true miracle is not in these external signs. It is in the inner transformation that occurs when someone truly understands and incorporates this knowledge. The Bardo Thödol reminds us that every moment is an opportunity to awaken. Every breath is a chance to recognize our fundamental nature. Death is not a tragic end, but a passage, a transformation, like ice melting to return to the ocean. This wisdom has crossed centuries, survived persecutions and wars, crossed oceans and continents, not because it is mere philosophy or a set of rituals, but because it touches something universal in the human experience. Our deepest desire to understand who we really are, and where we go when we close our eyes for the last time. The CHIKHAI Bardo is not just the moment of physical death. It is the portal to the infinite, the sacred instant where all illusions can dissolve like mist under the morning sun. It is the moment when the veil between the relative and the absolute becomes thinner than a lotus petal. When the breath begins to slow and the heart prepares for its last dance, something extraordinary happens. The elements that compose our physical existence begin to dissolve in a precise sequence. It is like a cosmic symphony where each note has its exact moment. First, the earth element dissolves into water. The person feels their body heavy as if sinking into the earth itself. Forms lose their solidity. At this moment, many experience visions of dim lights or a sensation of pressure, as if a mountain were upon them. Tibetan masters teach that we should not resist. We should flow with the experience like a river following its natural course. Next, the water dissolves into fire. All moisture seems to evaporate from the body. Some report a sensation of floating or being carried by an invisible current. Physical sensations become more subtle, like mist dissipating in the morning air. The fire then dissolves into air. The internal heat gradually diminishes, starting from the extremities and moving towards the heart. It is common at this stage to experience visions of sparks or dancing lights, like fireflies on a dark night. Finally, the air dissolves into pure consciousness. External breathing ceases, but something much deeper continues. It is at this crucial moment that the first manifestation of the fundamental clear light arises, the true nature of the mind in its pristine purity. This clear light is not like the physical light we know. It is more like a state of absolute clarity, where subject and object merge into a single indivisible experience. It is as if the entire universe becomes transparent, revealing its true nature. Tibetan masters emphasize that this moment is the greatest opportunity for liberation. If one can recognize this clear light as their own essential nature, liberation is instantaneous. It is like waking up from a dream and realizing that all previous experiences were just projections of the mind. However, for most beings, this recognition does not happen instantly. That is why the Bardo Thödol is read to the dying. The words serve as a guiding thread, a reminder of our true nature amid the dissolution of everything we considered solid and real. The text teaches us that even at this seemingly final moment, there is nothing to fear. Death is just a transition, like moving from one room to another in an infinite house. Fear arises only because we identify with the transient, forgetting our fundamental nature that is never born and never dies. Masters compare this moment to the space between two breaths, the interval between two thoughts, the silence between two musical notes. It is a moment of infinite possibility, where all projections can cease and reality can be seen in its true nature. The CHIKHAI Bardo teaches us that every moment of our life is preparation for this crucial instant. Every practice, every meditation, every act of consciousness is a rehearsal for this supreme moment. That is why practitioners are advised to familiarize themselves with the nature of the mind while they are still alive. Like a drop of water returning to the ocean, individual consciousness has the opportunity to recognize its true nature, infinite, luminous, and beyond any concept of birth or death. The CHIKHAI Bardo is not just a teaching about death. It is a mirror that reflects our true face, the one we had before our parents were born. In the vast panorama of consciousness that unfolds after physical dissolution, the CHÖNYID Bardo emerges as a cosmic theater where the mind's projections manifest in all their glory and terror. It is the realm of visions, where reality unfolds like an infinite mandala, revealing the multiple facets of our own consciousness. In this state, the mind freed from the limitations of the physical body experiences extraordinary clarity. It is as if all dreams, thoughts, and karmic impressions accumulated over countless lives manifest simultaneously in a spectacle of light and sound. The visions begin with the emergence of peaceful deities, manifestations of primordial wisdom in their most serene and compassionate form. Imagine a pure crystal reflecting all the colors of the rainbow. Such are the apparitions in this bardo. Each deity, each light, each sound that arises is actually an aspect of our own mind. The 100 peaceful and wrathful deities are not external entities, but archetypal representations of the fundamental qualities of enlightened consciousness. In the first 7 days of the CHÖNYID Bardo, the peaceful deities manifest in all their magnificence. Each one emerges accompanied by lights of different colors, each color representing a specific wisdom. The blue light of the wisdom of the Dharma Dhatu, the white light of mirror-like wisdom, the yellow light of the wisdom of equality, the red light of discriminating wisdom, and the green light of all-accomplishing wisdom. However, for those who do not recognize these manifestations as projections of their own mind, fear may arise. It is like looking into a mirror and not recognizing one's own reflection, being frightened by the image that appears. It is at this moment that the peaceful deities give way to the wrathful deities, not as punishment, but as more intense expressions of the same fundamental wisdom. The wrathful deities, with their multiple heads, many arms and ornaments made of bones, are not manifestations of evil or punishment. They are expressions of compassion in its most dynamic and transformative form. Like a father who may seem stern in preventing a child from getting hurt, these apparitions aim to awaken us from our fundamental ignorance. The text teaches us that every sound, light, and ray that appears is inseparable from our own consciousness. The roars of the wrathful deities are actually the sound of our own primordial wisdom. The rays of light are the natural radiance of our mind. The terrifying visions are just reflections of our unresolved fears and attachments. During this period, the consciousness experiences extraordinary clarity, much more intense than any experience during life. It is as if all veils were removed, and reality revealed itself in its most fundamental nature. Each moment brings the possibility of liberation if there is the recognition of the true nature of these apparitions. Masters compare this state to a lucid dream, where the dreamer suddenly recognizes that they are dreaming. Similarly, if during the CHÖNYID Bardo we can recognize that all apparitions are projections of our own mind, liberation is possible. Each vision, no matter how frightening it may seem, is an opportunity to awaken. The text constantly reminds us, do not be afraid, do not be seduced. Recognize everything as the natural manifestation of your own mind. It is like looking at the waves of the ocean and recognizing that they are no different from the water that composes them. Each manifestation, whether peaceful or wrathful, is just a play of fundamental consciousness. This Bardo also reveals the illusory nature of our ordinary perception. If during life we identified with a limited body and personality, in the CHÖNYID Bardo this illusion of solidity completely dissolves. It is a unique opportunity to recognize our true nature, which is as vast as space itself and as clear as sunlight reflected in a pure crystal. In the flow of existence after the luminous experiences of the CHÖNYID Bardo, the consciousness that has not achieved liberation enters the SIDPA Bardo, the intermediate state that precedes rebirth. It is like a traveler who, after crossing dazzling landscapes, finds themselves again at a crossroads where new paths present themselves. In this state, the consciousness experiences extraordinary mobility, free from physical limitations. Like a feather carried by the wind, it can pass through walls, mountains, and oceans in an instant. However, this apparent freedom is accompanied by profound restlessness as karmic winds begin to blow with renewed intensity. The experiences in the SIDPA Bardo are often compared to a turbulent dream. The consciousness experiences visions of violent storms, chases, and sensations of falling into endless abysses. These are not punishments, but manifestations of accumulated karma seeking expression. It is as if all the seeds we have planted over countless lives begin to sprout simultaneously. During this period, the consciousness can witness scenes of its future rebirth. Like a spectator in a cosmic theater, it observes potential parents and birth circumstances. The text warns us of the dangers of attraction and aversion at this moment. If the consciousness is carried away by preferences based on attachments or aversions, it may be drawn to less favorable circumstances for spiritual development. The Bardo Thödol offers precise instructions for this crucial moment. It teaches that upon perceiving signs of attraction to a particular realm of existence, we must maintain lucidity and not be carried away by karmic impulses. It is like an archer who, even in the midst of a storm, keeps their focus on the target. The visions in this Bardo include the 6 realms of existence: gods, demigods, humans, animals, hungry spirits, and hell beings. Each realm shines with its own characteristic light, trying to attract the consciousness like a flame attracts moths. The text warns us that even the seemingly highest realms are still part of samsara, the cycle of conditioned existence. At this moment, the practice of pure consciousness is more crucial than ever. The text teaches methods to close the doors of unwanted rebirth and direct the consciousness to circumstances favorable for spiritual development. It is like a navigator who uses the stars to guide themselves in a stormy ocean. One of the most profound instructions for this state is to maintain the remembrance of our true nature, even when all experiences seem to point to the contrary. It is like staying conscious during a nightmare, knowing that all apparitions are just projections of the mind. The text also reveals that in this state, the consciousness experiences extraordinary clarity regarding past and future lives. It is as if all the pages of the Karma book open simultaneously. This clarity can be both liberating and overwhelming, depending on our ability to maintain equanimity. For those who have practiced during life, this state offers one last opportunity for liberation before rebirth. Through the practice of pure devotion and the understanding of the illusory nature of all apparitions, it is possible to transcend the cycle of birth and death. The SIDPA Bardo teaches us that every choice, every thought, every intention has profound consequences. It is like a farmer who carefully chooses the seeds they plant, knowing that their future harvest depends on them. Even in this seemingly chaotic moment, the possibility of awakening remains present, like a light that never goes out. This Bardo is not just about death and rebirth. It is a mirror that reflects the nature of all our choices and actions. It reminds us that every moment of our life is an opportunity to cultivate the causes for future awakening, whether in this life or the next. The Bardo Thödol transcends its function as a guide for death, revealing itself as a mirror of existence itself. Its teachings show us that the Bardos are not just post-death states, but permeate every moment of our lives. The space between thoughts, the interval between waking and sleeping, and especially the eternal present moment, are all Bardos that offer continuous opportunities for awakening. The wisdom contained in this sacred text teaches us that the true preparation for death is to live consciously. When we understand the transient nature of all experiences, each moment becomes an opportunity to recognize our true nature, which remains unchanged, like the moon reflected in 1,000 different lakes. This ancient knowledge invites us to die to the false and be reborn to the true at every moment. Like a lamp passed through the centuries, the Bardo Thödol continues to illuminate the path of those who seek to understand the deepest mysteries of existence, reminding us that there is truly no death or birth, only the eternal awakening to what we have always been. Thanks for watching.